There it is. Got it. Okay. So, welcome everybody to SongNet. I'm Jimmy, and we have a very special guest today. Lenise Bent has been one of my friends for a long time, and
Hi, everybody.
yeah, and she is a legend, a bona fide legend in the industry. You just Google her name, and you'll pretty much find everything and all about the industry related to her because she's a trailblazer. She's been the first woman at a lot of stuff, but even more than that, she's been extremely successful, regardless of gender or anything else, in doing things for this industry, doing things in this industry, and even more importantly, helping people that are just getting into the industry to figure out where they want to go and what they want to do. Sound Girls is something you started Sound Girls, or you helped start
Oh
Sound Girls.
no, I Carrie Kai started Sound Girls. I was LA Women in Music.
Oh,
I
that's
was
right.
on the
Yeah.
board of directors of that. I didn't start. I haven't started anything, but I've joined a lot of stuff, and I'm a part of proud member of many wonderful organizations, including Sound Girls, that all women I highly recommend, and men can join it too. But I'm a member of the Recording Academy, which is NARIS, a voting member for the Grammys. I'm a member of the producers and engineers wing of that, which I'm very proud of, and the Audio Engineering Society, the Blues Foundation, um, uh, several more. But I think those are some that all of you might resonate with. So,
And you've also been a part of some major hit records that some of
yes,
us
I
that are a little
have.
bit older know about. I think the Asia album, I think, is one
Mm,
really big one.
that was my first big record that I worked on almost the entire time of the recording of that record, just about the entire record. So that was my first one. So um, I had a great opportunity, but also I chose to work with the best engineers and producers in the best studio with the best musicians on the best music. That was my MO. That was my goal. And so it may have taken me a little longer to get in that engineer seat than some of the people who just wanted to engineer right away. I wanted to learn from the best. And I did. And I'm so grateful for that. And it was a spectacular time, the late 70s and early 80s, when I was, you know, honing my skills. Uh, there
I
was
have to.
just a tremendous amount of music being created, and um, wonderful opportunities to learn really good skills. And so I'm very grateful for that. And I apply all of those skills all the time. I created my own little toolbox of things that I chose to use from all of those experiences. And so,
I'm,
and I
I'm,
pass them on as I go.
I'm curious. What was it like to work with Steely Dan? I have to ask. I mean,
Well, Steely Dan was basically Donald and Walter with
right.
producer Gary Katz and engineer Roger the Immortal Nichols. And so that was the core of Steely Dan. And everybody else was a hired gun session musician of the finest caliber. And it was um, it was an extraordinary experience. And I was 23 at the time. And
Wow.
yeah, I had studied film before, and then because of a friend of mine, Roger Lynn of Lindrum, who became the engineer for Leon Russell, who had a studio in his own home back then, I got invited over to see the studio and had my epiphany and dropped out of film school and found a recording school and never looked back. And um, so getting in the studio, I had worked on a lot of other sessions, building my skills up enough to be a worthy assistant on this project, the Asia album. And Donald and Walter were, you can't say they were warm and fuzzy. There was not much small talk. And so I was intimidated for quite some time until I got comfortable with just who they were. And their brilliance just outshone everything. And they uh, had no issue with me being a girl, just as long as I did my job well. And actually, we got along very well eventually. I worked on that record for 10 and a half months. So it was intense. You know, they don't want it perfect, they just want it right.
I'm not surprised that they were intense. That's their sort of aura, if you will. Yeah.
Well, it's authentic
Yeah. Yeah.
and sincere.
Yeah.
But we got to be good friends, and uh I like that.
Yeah.
But I fought for that record too. So when I knew it was coming into the studio, I made sure I would be the one that I learned all of their records, their previous records, who played on them, what the songs were, everything about them, the order that they came in. So I would be the most educated, and and so I at least had that under my belt before I entered the room. That was an important part, just being able to twiddle knobs and know how to plug in a mic and all that. There's so much more to it because it's such an intimate environment. As anybody here who has recorded knows, that you're birthing a baby, kind of, and it's everybody is a part of making that happen. And it's important to be an asset, not a liability, and somebody that they can trust and feel comfortable with, because the studio is a safe harbor for musicians and artists, and as opposed to some other places. So that's their happy place, hopefully, and you do your best to make that happen. And but we're all there to achieve this wonderful goal, and whatever that takes, you do the best you can.
What kind of changes do you think have been the biggest things in this industry now, as far as recording and stuff?
Well, the biggest change, obviously, is that people are able to have their own recording equipment in their home, and you don't have to have an enormous budget or whatever to create music. And that's kind of a double-edged sword, in the sense that before anybody walked into a recording studio before, you had to have a record label behind you typically, and that meant that you had already proven that you were worth investing in. It's either your songs or your performance or your musical abilities, or all of the above, were valuable to a lot of people, and so they put money behind you. And so if you showed up at a studio like the Village, you had already crossed a lot of hurdles already as a recording artist. And the people in recording in those studios, and the producers and all of that, you had to have a certain level, and typically a pretty high level of experience and competence, musically and technically, and know proper recording techniques, know what good audio was, and those things were issues back then. Now, I can make a record on my iPhone, and so can you and anybody else. Whether it'll sound very good or not isn't such an issue anymore. And there are just some things that you learn about creating music when you actually work with other people and interact with each other, and learn good recording and what good audio is, and how to capture that, and how to capture a performance and interact with the magic of the moment with this. It's all a wonderful creation, and it's all very creative and very artistic. And having the proper skills behind you brings the caliber of that much higher, the quality of your recording. And so often now, that's people don't know why they're doing the things they're doing. They're just they're recording it. They think if some compression's good, more is better, and or they don't even know what it is or how to use it properly, or equalization or reverb or any of these things. And so, and there's such a plethora, enormous amount of content being created, which is great on an artistic level. It's just hard for the cream to rise to the top. And some of it never does, and especially with this past 2 years where we've all been blindsided and had the rug pulled out from under us. And so as far as getting our music out there, getting your songs placed, getting sync opportunities, whatever it is you want to do with your song or your music, I'm excited because I can already tell that things are opening up. There's more opportunities happening. There's a lot of content being created as far as film and television goes, and webinars and webisodes and gaming, and so many opportunities for your music to get placed that didn't exist before. So that's really wonderful. So I want to encourage you all on that level. And as we're opening up from this pandemic, you know, you get out there and play again. Artists get to play. They're going to need music. They're if they don't create their own. And so you songwriters, you know, it's going to be better if it's not good for you already.
I'm curious. All of us have probably been in the studio at one point or another. When you deal with a group like a Steely Dan or a Supertramp or whatever, you know, the super groups that you've dealt with, how many takes do they do? Do they do one? Do they do 10? Do they do, it's all over the place? I mean, I'm curious, you know, how that works, especially in the days where you couldn't redo digital continually, you know.
Yeah, this was all to tape. This was before Pro Tools, and
Right.
definitely before Logic or any digital recording. That started happening, you know, I guess mid 80s or something. And I was doing a lot of post-production then, and it was happening more in post-production than it was actually happening in the music industry. But recording to tape is, you know, this destructive recording, meaning that you can't just save it and go on to something else because you don't have unlimited tracks, or, you know, you only have 24 tracks, or if you're lucky, 46 tracks where you sync up 2-inch tape machines. That was about as good as it got. You could do, you know, there was some 3 tape machines, but that's getting out there. So you had to make decisions, and you had to feel good about what you did, and you made commitments. And so when there was a tracking date back then, a tracking date meant that you had bass, drums, guitar, and rhythm section, and a work vocal, and keyboards, and hopefully you could keep everything. But typically, if you couldn't keep anything else, you wanted to make sure the drums were right, and everything else could kind of be replaced. But ideally, there would be a vibe going on where the musicians played with each other and played off of each other. And there would be maybe 3 or 4 takes, and then you'd see the energy start going down. You'd always record, even when they were just running it down, because sometimes that had the magic, and maybe it wasn't perfect, but hopefully you could fix something. But you always recorded everything. Hold on one sec. Hi, I have another engineer. My partner is in the other room talking to his client. Yeah, so, but after about 3 or 4 takes, if it wasn't happening by then, and you had these session players and they're booked and whatever, you'd go on to another song and maybe come back to that one. And quite often the take that did work again wasn't, there could have been a take that was technically correct and they got every note right and everything was correct, but it didn't have that joy or that emotion or whatever. And then they do another take and maybe there was a clam here or there, but boy, something magical happened in that. And that's one you'd go with. Or you'd take part of one and maybe put in the bridge of another, or you'd cut them all together to create the one. If you like the first part of one take and the second part of another take, you made an edit and that became your master to work off of. And then you did your overdubs of guitar solos or background vocals and lead vocal, but sometimes the work vocal was better than anything else they ever did. So that was exciting. And the whole point was to keep the vibe up and keep the energy up so you could capture a performance. And that is one of the biggest things that you don't see too much of unless you're actually recording a band or a group of people, or even two people will bring a wonderful energy into it. So personally for me, that old school thing is what makes me happy, and recording one thing at a time, or having a click track and having a bass player come in and play, and I don't know the rest of the song or any of it. That's not fun for me. And I have to have fun too, because my energy gets put on that tape. And so you want a good vibe in that room. And so the kind of projects I work on are, I record a whole band at the same time. And that makes me happy and that makes them happy. And I record the tape. And the last big project I did like that it was all analog. It went recorded to tape, 2-inch tape, mixed to 1/2-inch tape, and the vinyl was cut at Capitol right off of the 1/2-inch 2-track, and there's no D word. Now, of course, we digitized it so it can be, downloaded and all of that. The band's called Primal Kings, and it's kind of blues roots rock. Good guitars, you'd love it, and I'm very proud of that. And it's all analog, AAA legacy quality. You can dither it down any way you want afterwards, but it's as good as it can get. So makes me that's my happy place.
Yeah, well, there's that legendary story of how Green Onions was done, right? With
Well, tell me, I don't know that story.
well, you don't know the story. Well, Cropper, Dunn, and Booker T were in the studio warming up, tuning, and then they started doing the jam. Yeah, and so they figured, well, it's a straight up 12-bar. Engineer hit record, quickly set it up on tape, and they just let the tape roll to the end. And then afterwards, they said, "Man, that was pretty good. Too bad we didn't get that." So we did. We got it.
See, that's it.
So they rolled it. They rolled it back. They did a mix, and they gave the demo to somebody. I forget who it was. And then the guy that they gave the demo to really liked it a lot. And his friend had like the top 40 radio station in town, so he put it on there, and all of a sudden his
the phones lit up.
The phones lit up. Says, yeah. What is that? What's the title of that? Let me find out here. And so they quickly called the producers. I don't know, what do you want to call it? And he was eating. He goes, I don't know, Green Onions. All right, good. And that's how it came out. And yeah, that's a legendary story. I think Duck Dunn was the one that told that story. So you can find that online, but it's hilarious, But that's the kind of thing.
Exactly. And that's what you live for, when you're in the studio and you're creating, or the magic happens. And so you want to be ready for it. And that's the best part when those things happen. I had a session with Billy Preston years ago, and his producer, when he brought him into the studio, said, always have a reel of tape on the 2-track machine, and no matter what's going on besides the 24-track, if he walks out in that room, at least hit that. And I was really intimidated with it, and Billy was, I hadn't proven myself to him yet, and he was one of those people that needed that to happen. And I just prayed a lot, and said, please keep me 3 steps ahead of him. And sure enough, when we'd done a take on a song, and so we had to edit the first part of the we made these decisions about the takes, and he goes in and starts playing on the piano or the Hammond B3 or something. And, I immediately hit the 2-track, and that was rolling. And when he stopped, he turned around and said, "Did you get that?" And I went, "Yeah, we got it." And, yeah, he was all set to, rip me a new one. And instead, he really liked me. It took me about 3 days to win his, approval. But then I was part of the team after that. So,
And that's why he's a Beatle.
yeah. Well, and in that special, when he came in, it just changed everything. Bless his heart, man. He was great. So,
Okay, well, let's we got some stuff to listen to. So, Steve, what you got?
yes, and I want to say hi to everyone, and I'm so happy to be here, and I can't wait to hear your songs, and I just wish you all the best. Thank you.
So the way this works is I share the screen, and then we put up the lyrics, and then we start the playing. So,
Okay.
First song we'll listen to is by Dan Marcus. It's called "Too Much Smoke."
Hi there, Dan.
Hi. Hi, Lenise.
Let me bring
Good
up
to
the
see you.
lyrics here.
Great to see you as well and hear you.
Thank you. Okay, I'm muting me.
Give me one moment. And okay. So you should be able to see my screen. Is that correct?
I can see it.
You can see my screen, right?
Yes.
And
Yes,
let's
I
see.
can. Yes, I can.
Okay, I have to. There it is. I have to do. Share sound.
Yeah.
That's the setting.
Yeah. By the way, this is a live performance, I should mention. So I apologize for any audio imperfections.
That's fine. It's about the song and the lyrics, and that's what it's about.
Okay.
So,
And
Thank
yeah.
if we usually have to adjust the sound a little bit, and I have to turn my sound like way up. So let me know. Make sure you can hear it. Okay.
Okay.
All right. Let's see.
Okay.
It's the Dan Marcus tune.
Again, we're thanking Hank Van Sickle for sitting in with us tonight on bass. Yay! Woo! Count us in, babe.
A 1, 2, 3, 4. I don't know exactly what's going on with you and me. Everything is so confusing, it's getting hard to see. You say you will and you say you won't. You say you do and you say you don't. Come on, babe, now we're down to the wire. There's just too much smoke and not enough fire. Too much smoke, not enough fire. You say you don't know what I want, but darling, I'm sure you do. Save the tea and save the coffee, 'cause all I want is you. You say you're fast and you say you're slow. You say to stop and you say to go. Come on, babe, now we're down to the wire. There's just too much smoke and not enough fire. Too much smoke, not enough fire. I don't even know where we're going, but I know where we could be. Ooh, honey, lately your love isn't flowing, you're holding back on me. You say it is and you say it's not. You say you're cold and you say you're hot. Come on, babe, now we're down to the wire. There's just too much smoke and not enough fire. Too much smoke and not enough fire. Too much smoke and not enough fire. Too much smoke, not enough fire. Ooh, yeah, too much smoke, baby, not enough fire. Too much smoke and not enough fire.
All right. Oh, that was fun. I'm a huge fan of Dan Hicks, just to let you know
Sure.
that, and
Me
Maria
too.
Muldaur and Jeff Muldaur and all that sort of stuff. So so you got me already with that. And I wanted to listen all the way through to see if you had a bridge or and the little solo section and all that. Those girls are great.
Yeah,
Who-
one of those girls is actually in one of the squares tonight. Miss Merrily Weber was singing the lead part.
Oh, you're
Yes.
good. You're really
with,
good.
with her band at the time.
What was the name of the band?
Ladybug. Ladybug. And
All
Merrily
right.
was the front person in that band.
Well, good job, Marilee. You're muted. But yeah, I liked it very much. And it was good for a live performance. Now I would have liked a little more going on in the solo section, just a little
Mhm.
bit.
Okay.
And the end, I felt that the end could have a little more distinct ending if you were going to record it. Now, for playing live, it was kind of fun to draw it out and do all of
Right.
that. And
Uh-huh.
but I think to wrap it up a little more succinctly would be the only possible suggestion I could come up with. And it's not totally necessary, but it too much smoke, not enough fire, it seemed like it ended itself more on that. If you're going to record it, is what it feels like to me, because it was pretty succinct all the way along. I like the harmonies, of course, and it's good job. And you started with the lyrics, which was good, that you were having trouble seeing what was going on, and that's because there's too much smoke. And so right from the beginning, you alluded to the smoke or to the hook there, and that's always good because you want to say it and then you want to say it again, and you said it one more time and then a few times after that. So good job. I enjoyed that very much.
Thank you, Lenise. Thank you very much.
Hey, just a couple of things. Was the volume level about right?
The volume for me was great. Well, I could
Okay,
adjust it
okay.
here too, but
Sure.
what you were
Okay.
sending to me was
Okay.
very good.
Okay, good. And then you can always, if you want to end it a little earlier or something, just give me a high sign and we can.
Okay, right. When I saw that there were just 3 verses, I thought, okay, so it's not that long. And again, I was waiting to hear if there was a bridge or not, if that was a third verse or an actual bridge. And so that's why I let it go.
Oh, no problem.
And I'm glad I did, because I wouldn't have heard the ending. And that was, it kept, I was ready for it to go, but have that ending first. And then it was just kind of lingering a little bit.
Oh.
And so I'd shorten that up a little bit.
Okay. Next up, we'll have a song by Ed Lackey called New Day. And
Hi, Ed.
Let me get that
Hi there.
Hi.
brought up here. And let me share the screen. Let's see.
I keep talking, you keep walking. Why don't you turn around? I keep talking, you keep walking. Baby, why do you put me down? Come on, baby, let's dance. Baby, start a new romance. Come on, baby, that's the way. Maybe this will be a new day. New day. New day. I'd like to talk and get to know you. Let's take a drink and I'll show you. Won't take it, no explaining. I can be real entertaining. Come on, baby, let's dance. Maybe start a new romance. Come on, baby, that's the way. Maybe this will be a new day. Let the two of us turn this around. Let's see what we have found. If we dance real slow, the way I hold you will let you know. Come on, baby, let's dance. Maybe start a new romance. Come on, baby, that's the way. Maybe this will be a new day.
All right, Ed. Wow, that took me back. That was kind of like a Devo-esque sort of thing. Sorry? You know what? I'm having trouble understanding you.
Well, I didn't say anything, so.
Oh, who was speaking? I was hearing somebody. Yeah, I mean, that was kind of like, I was trying to think who the other singer is that would be doing something like that. But it made me think of Devo a little bit, and a lot of guitars. And so those were the two main events going on. Interesting phrasing you got going there, Ed. which it's got a lot of punk elements to it. And then I think it sort of came together and had sort of, who are we hearing? Somebody needs to be muted, I think. Okay, thank you. Interesting. Is there somebody else speaking or something? Is anybody else hearing what I'm hearing? Thank you. Thank you. Okay. I don't know where it's coming from. It's not from me. There's nothing going on here. So anyway, let's try this again. I found that the guitars, as interesting as they were kind of conflicting with the melody. And so I was getting distracted from the song by the guitar work, because it was kind of, there were no dynamics. They didn't cut back during the verses, and coming back up during the chorus or whatever. It was just kind of all the way along, all the way. So I kept pulling more towards the guitars or getting pulled back and forth. I would suggest pulling the guitars down or simplifying the figure during the verse, so people will concentrate on the verse a little more and the lyrics there. And maybe it was hard to follow the melody because there was so much guitar work going on, but maybe that was your intention, because it was a very simplistic as far as the lyrics go and what you were singing, and it didn't do a whole lot musically as far as the melody goes, and the guitar was what was going all over the place. So so maybe that was your intention. Can you tell me a little bit about where you were coming from with this?
You know, that's hard to say. It was just a song about a guy meeting a girl and trying to get to know her.
Mm-hmm.
And I don't remember how I came up with it or how I put it together.
Mm-hmm.
But that's the long and the short of it.
Okay. I would recommend working on your structure a little bit of your song structure, only to make it easier. Like I said, your phrasing and where you were putting your words and lyrics was a little disconcerting in places, and for me, and I would work on the melody a little more to so if it's easier to follow, it'll be stronger. And lyrically, it told the story. It was very simple, and so I don't know what your intention is for this song. Were you looking to place it somewhere, or what were you seeing happening with this song? Where were you going with it? Is, I guess, my question.
I don't know. I could do anything with it, but I hadn't really given it much thought.
Okay, well, you know, that's kind of an important thing to do, is to have a vision for your song of who are you singing this to, or who's your audience for this song, and what would you like to happen with this song? And that may help you in your creation of songs. Because this one, I couldn't really tell where you wanted to go with it, except that you had fun writing it, and that's okay too. And playing the guitar, that's okay too. but it was a little disjointed. And so I would suggest working on more strengthening your melody a bit, and maybe lyrically putting in a line or two that was a little more original, in the sense that what you were saying has been said simply a lot. And so we got your message, but it would be fun to have something that more of a hook for your lyric, and then have the guitar. By the end of it, it felt like the guitar and the vocal were kind of getting along a little better. Where before I found them one was doing this and one was doing this. So I would try to make that a little more cohesive, have maybe the guitar support the melody a little bit more, or what you're singing. Is that of any help for you? Is that coming across?
Yes, thank you very much for your criticism.
You're so welcome. Enjoy, have fun. Sounds like you had fun doing it.
I did.
Well, that's really important. See, I could tell.
Okay, so next up we have John Bernard, and it's a song called Africa.
Oh, so John isn't here with us tonight.
He is.
Yes,
Oh,
switching seats,
there he is.
limited seating.
Okay.
Hi, John.
Hello.
Footprints left in her clay. Africa flowed like a river, carries the night into day, follows the dream of the future. out across the still silent plain. The moon it is full, the clouds it did rain. What she believes, so she becomes. The king of the bees, there is but one.
Well, that went on.
Well, you're having such a good time, you just kept going.
Yeah, that's right.
Yeah. Wow. That's quite a production.
Yeah.
Good job.
That's what happens when you have your home studio.
Yes, it is. Yes, it is. Yeah, that was, I loved the dynamics in it, and how you started so quietly and you built up to your intro, and then you got your groove going, and then you got into the verses and all, and then I love the breakdown that you did and brought it back. Yeah, the one thing I think that it would be the best suggestion for this is to, edit it down here and there. Because if you were shopping this or you had an intention for this, sadly, music supervisors and all of that, they don't give it the full listen that we are doing. They don't indulge songs like we do tonight. And and I know I let that go, but I had to see where it was going, and I hope that's okay. I don't know how long we're supposed to go tonight, but I have no cutoff time, but we should have proper time. Anyway, that would be my main suggestion. You had good dynamics. The lyrics were compelling and thoughtful and poetic. And you were painting a lovely picture of the desert and the African desert. And
It's very old. It's about 30 years old. It was inspired by the Leakeys' Finding Lucy. I don't know if you.
Oh, yes, I know. I've seen Lucy.
Oh wow,
Yeah,
that's pretty cool.
saw her in New York.
Wow,
She was resting.
Yeah. Anyway, it was just the evolution of that's where we come from and where we're going, and we end up.
No, very good, very good. I would cut it down.
Sure.
So your message would be a little more succinct. Sadly, these days, the attention span of most people isn't very long. And for if you want airplay, if you want it to be placed in a film or a TV show or whatever, you need to be within a certain time frame, and so you hold the listener's attention in that respect. When you're playing live, you can do whatever you want, you know.
I figured on the first 30 seconds of it, I had it timed to where if you were selling a Jeep and you wanted to have it going across this.
Well, see, that's a very good thing. That's an excellent
First 30
music
seconds.
cue.
Yeah.
A very good music cue, and that could be a good, just shop that.
Yeah.
When or a music supervisor would just, want the, hold the vocal, and
Exactly. Yeah.
so I would one recording technique, one comment I would like to make, it's what pulled me out a little bit. I would maybe reduce some of the keyboard in the beginning because it wasn't as tight as it could be, and that I think would make it much more valuable.
Mhm.
So that I would suggest that, and then
This is
one
going-
other.
Oh, go ahead.
Sorry, and one other recording thing is I would when Marilee's voice came in, it's a lot drier, and so it's a lot more up in front, and
Mhm.
so I would work on the sound, like the use a different reverb or use something like that, and tuck her back into the mix a little bit.
Sure. Yeah, bring her back in the track.
Yeah. Well, and just so it was a little more
Mhm.
complimentary with the track.
Right. Right.
But those are just two little things, because it's a good song, and if you are wanting to get a commercial about it, or I would tighten up that intro, clean it up a little bit. Do you know what I'm talking about?
Yes, I would have to recut. This was done on ADATs many years ago. So this is.
Oh, okay.
This
Yeah,
sounds
see,
like-
I don't know the
sounds like I
backstory
can
of
do-
any of these things, so I may be making stupid comments.
Oh, no, not at all. Not at all. I realize I pretty much would have, I'd go in and recut,
Okay.
which is
All right.
doable. But, yeah,
Yeah,
but
well,
nice to
it's
hear
worth
that.
recutting and focusing and tightening up, and actually make, if you put a different style on the vocal and worked with her vocal a little bit, it would have a more modern sound. Not that and it's kind of a timeless approach, a timeless song, so you got that going for you. But as far as sound quality goes, you might want to remix it with her vocal sounding a little bit different.
Yeah.
And then on the end, with all that going on like that, that was a little bit of a cacophony here and there.
Yes, it
So,
was.
but again, you guys were having a lot of fun, and so
We were just letting it roll, and that's what we came up with. Wow.
yeah,
One of those.
yeah, and there's some real nice bits in it, especially the very end.
Right.
Keep that very end bit.
Yeah. Yeah. Thanks.
You're welcome. Thank you.
Thank you.
You're muted, Stephen. Stephen.
Next up,
There, thank
we
you.
have- Yeah, next up we have Kennedy York, and the song is called Funny. And
I'm looking for, oh, Kennedy. Hi, Kennedy.
Hello, can you hear me?
Yes,
I'll
I
be-
can hear you.
Here, you can see me now. Let me,
Oh, there you go.
there you are. Okay.
You've changed your clothes.
Funny how your glamour faded with your age.
Ouch.
Did it fall out of a pocket on your jeans? Funny, I remember you above the rest. Anyone below you took backseat, wasting precious time glued to a telephone, waiting for a call funny how to me you look the same. Every day we struggle with the images of a dreamer trading dreams in for a gun. Very sad behavior for a superstar, but you were sure you had it right. You got it right. Laughing at the ordinary life of stationary people. Never questioned, never doubted, never lost a fight. Your hands over eyes over now. Take a selfie of yourself. Are you funny now? Ooh. Are you funny now? Ooh. Are you funny now? Ooh. Are you funny now?
The recordings, I didn't, I don't know, did you hear like,
Yeah,
yeah, I didn't record it
did.
like that, but it's probably just the sound, but.
Well, I figured you didn't record it like that because you wouldn't have played it like that.
Amen
But
to that.
somehow it came out that way. So we all heard it, right? All the clicking and popping and overmodulation and stuff like that. So whatever that was, if it's not like that on your end, that's good. That's a good thing. Tell me a little bit about the story of this. I'm following her. Was she a stand-up comedian, or was she who became? What was your inspiration for this song?
Well,
that's all right.
actually, the truth, Lenise, behind this. By the way, let me just say, what a pleasure it is to meet you, Lenise.
Oh,
I mean,
thank you.
I know about
Nice to meet you.
Auto American is one of my favorite albums of all time. I mean,
Thank
seriously.
you. It's one of mine too. I had so much fun working on that and recording that, and I hope that comes across.
Well, that album is just phenomenal because there's so many. Every song is different on that album,
Exactly.
which I love.
Yes,
you know?
yeah. It's Debbie Harry's voice is the constant, but just about everything else.
Yeah, but reggae, rap,
punk
punk, everything. It was just a brilliant album.
It was
really
a wonderful experience to work on that. So thank you. I'm so glad you enjoyed that.
Of course.
We all had a blast.
I'm sure you did.
It was pretty crazy. So so that said, all the different genres and so there were telling a good story is really important, because you're really telling a story, and you don't want to give everything away, but you want to be able to have somebody be able to follow what it is you're saying. And so
what I wrote, what that song is actually about, is myself. Years ago, when I was 19, 20 years old, I was so sure I was going to be the next Robert De Niro, right? I went to acting school. I just knew that I was going to be, nobody was going to tell me different. My dad, well, you better have a backup plan. Well, no, I just thought I was going to do it. No one was going to tell me anything. I would laugh at people that, had ordinary lives, right? And then I look in the mirror now, 30 some years later, and it's not the, anyway, the song's about me looking in the mirror, you know,
Ah,
and are
okay.
you funny now? You know, take a selfie of yourself. Are you funny now? So it's about
Ah,
myself. Yeah.
okay. And how long ago did you write this or record this? I'm finding I have to, you know,
Oh, that's one
a
of my
lot of these
recent.
are recent. Okay, good
Yeah,
to
that's
know.
one of my most recent.
Okay,
Yeah.
good. Well, I like your Harry Nielsen sort of influence. Did I pick that right? Or the
Oh, are you kidding me? Of course, he is a big influence of mine. I mean, as anybody from his era was.
yeah,
You know,
yeah.
all you know, I love how he went from everybody's talking to what's the song? I can't live if living without
Yeah,
you.
yeah, right.
Yeah, I mean, so yeah.
And one, and
Yep,
there's just
yep,
so
yep.
many, you know, so many great songs that he did. And what you have a voice that you know, is very melodic and musical, and so you can hit those notes and you can
Well, I thank you, God
sort of,
bless you, but it's actually studio. I mean, I have to overdo my voice, you know,
yeah,
over
you
and
got,
over
yeah.
and dubbed,
Well,
you know, flares of my voice and whatnot. But
well,
thank you.
yeah, well, uh, I'm as far as the melody goes, the as you went up a little bit, that was a bit of a surprise, and that was okay, but it was just not as succinct. It was a little meandering, and so
I agree with you 100% on that. I wanted to get it like Paul McCartney in Maybe I'm Amazed. He does something like
mhm,
that. When he goes, "Yoo-hoo," and I
yeah.
wanted to do it like that. I just couldn't get it. So
I mean,
anyway,
the best rock and roll voice
yeah, of course.
in the history of singers.
He
Yeah.
was just in
So,
concert here on Monday in Seattle. I'm
oh
in Seattle.
God.
I'm Vashon right now.
Oh,
So he was,
oh,
yeah.
were you fortunate enough to see
Yes,
that show?
yes, yeah,
Oh
yeah,
boy,
yeah.
fantastic.
Yeah, that's why we came down
Fantastic.
here. Yeah.
Oh, that's great. That's great. Yeah, highlight of your life right there. Um, so yeah, you're so I would say work on your melodies a little more. I have a great suggestion for a lot of you that is really wonderful. And it's a syndicated show, but it's called Saturdays with the Beatles, and it's from 9 to noon here in Los Angeles, but it's on 88.5 FM, which you can stream. And the reason I'm bringing it up to you, whether you're a Beatles fan or not, quite often they play, I think his name is Les Perry, who is the DJ on it. And the cool thing he does is play outtakes and versions of the songs that while they were still working on the song. And so you hear where it isn't as succinct as when they finally recorded it, those melodies and lyrics and all of that were refined by that point before George Martin started working with them, but they did many versions that were a lot looser getting to that point. And you often get to hear that, and it's comforting to know that they just didn't come out of the chute with those perfect vocals and arrangements and all of that sort of stuff, that they had to play around with it a while before those revealed themselves and they came to those. So for all songwriters, I think it's a wonderful opportunity to hear what they went through. And so that might help you with your meandering vocal a little bit. And also it was a little long again. So you might want to edit it down and tighten it up. And yeah, I think that those would be the main things that I would say, because it's a good story and you want that to come through because there's a lot of words and a lot of thought to it. I don't think you would necessarily need to do the bridge twice, you know, just have that once perhaps, and yeah, cut it down a little bit. And I think you could work on the lyrics just a little bit to tell the story a little more succinctly as well. But so I'll know that, you know, that because that helps. People like to have a beginning, middle, and an end to their story, and know that it was completed, and that just makes your song a whole lot stronger.
Perfect. I couldn't agree with you more. Perfect. And that's basically what I was thinking. So we're on the same level. Thank you.
Good. You know, you've got a really good bed there, and you can now massage it and fine tune it.
Thank you. I appreciate it.
You're welcome.
Thank you.
Good job. Thanks.
Okay, next up we have Marilee Weber. The song is called Joys of Love.
So Marilee's, she was on
I didn't mean
boy, you get a threesome here.
Sorry,
lucky me, lucky us. I love your voice.
Come on, baby, let it rip tonight. Let's not fuss and let's not fight. I haven't been home since I don't know when. Let's let the joys of love begin. It's crazy out there, let's smooth it out. Yeah. Inside, no need to twist and shout. One moment alone, make a sane sin. Let's let the joys of love begin. Babe, come see me. I need your company. Don't wanna know what it'd be like without your love tonight. Don't stop right out of my head. Bitched and bossed, trying to make some bread. So fatten me up, I'm getting thin. And let's let the joys of love begin. Let's let the joys of love begin. Let's let the joys of love begin. Let's let the joys of love begin.
Good job. Good job. What is that chord?
which
Jimmy?
one?
Jimmy, you know which one I'm talking about, the one where love at the end of before it goes back into the major. Is it what
It's
is that?
in A minor.
Yeah. Oh, A minor. Okay.
Yeah, so the first one's a G minor and the second one's an A minor, and then everything else is major.
Yeah, right. Okay. Yeah, that was kind of following it so closely with a major chord kind of threw me off a little bit. I would I think it'd be stronger if you kept that A minor chord going a little longer, so before you went back to the major. If you're going to have it there,
Okay.
Say it with conviction instead of just dropping it in, because when you did leave it there, and of course it sounds, essence of Steely Dan sort of things and the instrumentation, all that, which is really nice, with the Rhodes and so I would suggest that, because it was a little disconcerting. It kind of jerked me around a little bit. I would,
Okay.
we don't hear that fast in our souls, I don't think, to process that as quickly. And it was I like the story. I like the whole thing. You've been gone. And then it was interesting that you instead of doing 8 bars, you just did 4 before you went right into the last line of the verse, right?
Yeah. There's a space, no?
Well, it's much shorter space than the rest, which is interesting. I'm trying to. I think if it would work better if you had that A minor chord hanging on more, because turning it around, going right into a deep. I wish I was being more succinct and more. My music theory was a little more eloquent right now, and as in my communication skills. But if I could see the lyrics, I would be able to tell you where it is, what I'm talking about. And yeah, it's a fun, simple song, kind of fun and joyous, a little sexy, and without being vulgar,
Right.
and that's important. And yeah, when you go, it would be always right before the last line of the verse, and your iambic pentameter sort of thing going here. Since I don't know when, and then let's let the joys of love begin. Right between when and let's let the joys, those 2 lines, the last 2 lines. Why don't you try sustaining that A minor chord before you go back into the next verse, and I think that might be a little smoother.
Okay.
But try it. I'd have to try it to see. Then we'd know. Because it's a tried and true story that so many people can relate to. So you want to make sure that they enjoy listening to it smoothly. And it was interesting how your bridge is almost like a gospel sort of thing, a little bit. Different key, different everything, which is okay. There was something different besides just the key that it was in, and the tempo and all of that. Was there an instrumentation difference too, or was it done at a different time? Only because it seemed there were so many things different about it. It almost seemed like it could have been from a different song.
I always thought it was interesting that the riff is C to D minor.
Yeah.
D minor, C to D minor, back.
Mm-hmm,
and then the bridge is B.
Yeah, babe, come and see me. I need your company.
B to E. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, so that was That's real different. I'm trying to think how to make that smoother. It was so different. It kind of pulled me away from what you were saying. Yeah. And you want to keep the listener engaged. So it was maybe a better transition between those two musically. You know what I'm saying? If you could bring it around, and the solo section could have been, I think, a little bit shorter, or have a more succinct solo in it if you're going to have that section at all.
Right. Yeah. This is kind of a little dummy thing here.
Yeah. So I think once again, you were trying out a variety of different things. And I think, again, it needs to be made a little more succinct, because it's a simple little, I was thinking of Peg a little bit, Steely Dan song Peg, because there's a lot of fun in that, but it's simple and it doesn't, this is a fun lyric, and interaction between these two people, and they're going to have some fun because they've missed each other. You've missed, at least you missed them, I can't really speak for the other one, but so yeah, I would simplify it a bit. I would just for fun, because it feels fun, and maybe not try to do so much musically with all these different chord changes and all of that, because it kind of pulls away from the fun and the simple but strong vibe of the lyric.
Okay.
Does that make any sense? Or you're seeing that? Okay.
Yeah.
Just work on it a little bit. Again, massage it and fine tune it, and see where you go with that.
All right. Nice to meet you.
Very nice to meet you too. I hope someday we have the pleasure of doing something. It'd be a lot of fun to record you, I can just tell.
Oh, I would love it.
You never know. All right. Thank you so much, Mary.
Thank you.
Wait. Time out. Hi, who are we listening to? I want to know.
What's the deal? You're starting my song early.
Yeah.
That's mine, Pat Bryant.
Hi, Pat.
Hi,
Nice to
Lenise.
meet you.
Nice to meet you too.
Now, I'm getting the idea that I should probably find out a little more about these songs before I start listening, so I can be more constructive. Is this a new song, or is this an old song? Or
this is a song that I finished and solo recorded this year. So yeah, it's a new song.
Okay, good. It's current.
Yeah,
And,
it's current for me. It's a kind of country flavored ballad, although since it's me doing the song, it doesn't come out with a real country flavor. But I hope you can get what the song's about nonetheless.
More Americana.
I guess so, yeah.
Oh, okay. All right. Anything else you want me to know about it before we listen?
Nope.
Okay, good. Here we go.
You walk in the dark, worn out and weary. You fall into bed, your mind in a haze. You wake in the dark, feeling so lonely. You wish for a lover to light up your days, your nights. One who's saucy and smart, perfect
just to find that someone to love you, someone who's more than a plaything for you, someone to love you, who wants to be loved just as much as you do.
Nice, strong chorus there. That's almost a sing-along. You kind of want that. That's a, where people want to sing along with that. Good job. Good job. You got the feeling. You told a story succinctly and clearly. And you know what? After the bridge there, where you say because, you don't need to have that because there, because there's enough of a pregnant pause that implies that. Before you go into loneliness, that word, that phrase. We know, we get it. So you don't have to say because. I think just having a pause there says more than anything. You don't need to put that in there.
That's an interesting take, yeah. And I want to give kudos to my co-writer, Ernie Martinez. He's the one who came with the guitar figure. That
nice. Yeah.
So, yeah.
Well,
credit
you want
where
a
it's
hook.
due.
Yeah. Yeah. What was that angsty sort of chord that you put in there in the first verse?
You mean
like
the second chord? That is a C minor with an added 9, I believe.
Okay. All right. That's a at first it went like whoa, and then it fit. And because you carried it on in the right places. So many of these, see, I have one listen to these, and there's so much going on in each song that could be worked on that if I listened to them a few times, I would be able to come up with some other things too. However, I think you did a real nice job in telling the story, and there was a repetition. You said it once. You say it in the verses, and then you wrap it up in the chorus twice, which was good. The two that you had that, and it was very strong. I love, finding somebody that you love and somebody who wants to be loved as much as you. And that's, we that hasn't been overdone before in my book. That was almost a fresh approach, which is an obvious approach, and yet it hasn't been said too often like that.
No
And
kidding.
so-
I never thought of it that way.
And so it's kind of something that everybody would want, and so everybody can relate to that. We want to find somebody that we want to love, who wants to be loved and love as much as we do, and that's you said that really well. So I think that was a good job, and yeah, thank you, Pat.
Thank you.
All right. Last, we have my song. This is called Want to Be Loved. And cue it up here. And get it rolling. Okay.
Do it because we want to be loved. We do what we do. We do it because we want to be loved. We do it because we want to be loved. We do what we do. We do it because we want to be loved. Looking down at your phone. Are you gonna make that call? 'Cause she hit you like a bolt of lightning. Are you gonna risk that fall? Do it because we want to be loved. We do what we do. We do it because we want to be loved. We do it because we want to be loved. We do what we do. We do it because we want to be loved. Are you gonna get on that stage? Are you gonna say that line? 'Cause that applause was the bolt of lightning that caused your soul to shine. Do it because we want to be loved. We do what we do. We do it because we want to be loved. We do it because we want to be loved. We do what we do. We do it because we want to be loved. Stepping out on that tightrope, swaying left and right. Keep your eyes straight ahead, and soon you'll see the light. Do it because we want to be loved. We do what we do. We do it because we want to be loved. We do it because we want to be loved. We do what we do. We do it because we want to be loved.
Nice one. Nice one.
Thank
Direct, straight ahead. Great example. There you go. You start with your chorus, and you set the stage, and then you reinforce it by examples of that thing that you're doing. And isn't that funny? We want to be loved, and kind of like the song before about wanting to be loved and all of that. This is a wonderful approach, whether it's a relationship with a person, with the relationship with your passion on the for whatever it is, that thing you want to do because you love it and that's why you do it. And so I really enjoyed that. As far as structure goes, my feeling was when you were singing the chorus after the second verse before you went into the bridge, I would suggest try singing the chorus only once before you go into the bridge. and see how that feels. Because that kind of, if you sang it once and then you go into the bridge and then you come out of the bridge and go into it again, I think singing it only once would tighten it up a little bit, because I was expecting a bridge, and I just felt that would have been stronger without that as far as structure goes. So give it a try. I could be off my rocker, but that's what my gut told me.
No,
So that's why I'm sharing it with you.
I know I've seen that done in other songs where you do the same thing once instead of twice. Yeah.
Give it a try.
I'm thinking specifically of a song
And then
recently. Yeah.
In both of the verses, you referred to that bolt of lightning.
Okay.
And I think you could melodically make that stronger. My bolt of lightning, or bolt of light, come up a little bit, because lightning is strong and all that. It didn't have the impact and power that a bolt of lightning would have melodically. So I would work on the melody of that line in both of those. And they don't even necessarily have to be the same, but I think they need to be, I would play with that a bit and see if you could make that a little stronger and impactful and higher, instead of coming down with it, bolt of lightning. Try it. I would just try something, something like that, play around with it. But I enjoyed it. It told a good story. It kind of an anthem, for everybody. It was encouraging to let people know that that's what, we all need to do what we do and do it.
It was written with the thought in mind of actually my fellow songwriters, because after doing this a while, I started to appreciate, and this was back a number of years ago, how brave these people were. You bare your soul and you get up in front of all these people and play something that's very close to you, and you're vulnerable. You're really out there. So
oh my gosh, absolutely.
Yeah. And so it was about people who take risks. It was the sort of the essence of it.
Well, the love and the power is stronger. It overrides everything else. You can't help but do that thing. Yeah. You're that passionate and that driven, and that's huge. Yeah. So you said it very well and simply, and bam, good job. Thank you
so much. Jimmy, we didn't have any no-shows. We got everybody through. Unless I missed something, but I don't think I did. And so I guess further discussion, comments?
We got 7. I thought you said we had 8.
No, we had 8. We played 8.
Did we play 8?
Yeah.
Anybody here that's missing? Everybody got heard?
Maybe you're right. Maybe it was 7. I don't know. No, I think we played everybody who signed up. Let's put it that way. Yeah.
Okay. Nancy and Eliza didn't send.
That's right. That's correct.
Okay. Oh,
yes.
Wait. Nancy had a question? You can unmute yourself. No? Okay.
Do you have a page where we could find you, or
yeah,
leave you an email or something?
Go to lenisebent.com.
Okay.
And there's my Lenise at lenisebent.com would be the best one.
There's a contact form on there, I assume, or something like that.
I've never written myself an email, so I don't know. It was done for me. It was been set up by my management. My management company set it up. So, but I get emails. So,
That's
so it
good.
must,
Great.
so, it's on there, I guess.
Or
You
if
know
you
what? I haven't
haven't-
looked at it for a while, so I
We're the
probably
baby
should.
boomers. We're the baby boomers.
Well, he set it up for me because, I enjoy hiring the, people who know how to do their job, and I let them do it.
Yeah, there you go.
I am not a web designer.
Yeah. Do you yourself play songs in film, TV these days, or what? I remember in your bio it said something like something in the healing area. Maybe you could talk about that
That's
a little
why,
bit.
I just did that, and it was a wonderful experience. One that I almost didn't do because it was recorded by someone else. This is a sound healing record called Sunset to Sunrise, and it's about how to get ready for sleep, and it helps people sleep and turn off their heads, and it's a sound bath. And do all of you know what a sound bath is? It's where somebody plays either gongs or crystal quartz bowls, and they resonate with each other, and they bounce off different surfaces, and your whole body, you're usually lying down, and you can be in a group, or you can do this individually with a sound bath expert. And you get this all over wonderful massage of frequencies and sound as they resonate, and you get this wonderful feeling of wellness and relaxation, and things come out, and it's very subtle. When it's happening, you go, nothing's happening here, or this sounds okay, but I don't feel anything. But you get so relaxed by this all over massage of frequencies. We are frequency receptive. We are receivers. We receive light, which is frequencies, and we receive sound, which is frequencies. And it's you have this feeling of kind of focus and well-being, and it lasts a few days. And actually it helped my back, because my whole body relaxed so much. I popped at this one, and I thought the whole place heard it, and they probably did. But it fixed my back that I had a kink in, and just because everything was massaged, it gets your internal organs and everything, and so it helps. But it's very hard to capture recording wise, because the whole point of it is that the sound reflects off of things, the environment that you're in. And so I decided to make a challenge out of it to see if I could make it work or not. That somebody else recorded it and there was none of those reflections. So I did my own version of immersive sound and played it. Well, there's very high ceilings here, and I had microphones, and I played it all over the place and captured it on many different tracks. And then I placed it as if it was reflecting onto me, and it worked. And people have been really liking it, but it's sound healing. And that was my first experience with that. And it's so wonderful to take my skills and apply it to something that people can really benefit from. And I look forward to doing more of that, actually. So I have my hands in lots of pies. I do sound design, I do field recording, I do Foley for films, I record people, I mix people. I just my passion is audio. I do what I do. We do what we do. Because we do what we do, or that lyric of yours. That's why I do this. We do it for the love of it. I can't help it. I don't know what I'd do if I didn't do all of these things with sound. Sound is my passion.
Are you doing Atmos?
I have sat in on a lot of Atmos, and I have not mixed or had anything recorded for Atmos or mixed for Atmos yet. Until it is something that's more pervasive and the average consumer enjoys it, whether it's through headphones. That was the thing I was trying to do. My version of immersive audio was, like I said, I made it up, but based on the dimensions that Atmos has. You go up and you go down and you go out and you go around. And I had just listened to Vicky Giordano. Giordano had invited me to her studio, Sound Images or the mix room, or I don't know what it was called. I can't remember. And I listened to several examples of immersive audio, including, oh my God, the best one that they were able to do was Marvin Gaye's What's Going On. Oh, I've got goosebumps right now just telling you about it. It was such a perfect recording to do immersively because there's so many layers in the people and the things going on. And I listened to about 6 songs, 6 different mixes. And then we went outside to talk about it and what I was going to do. And I had to drive to Santa Barbara from there. This was in Santa Monica. And just standing there, I realized the surrounds and the rear speakers and all, my shoulders were tingling, just like a sound bath. And I went, wait a second, this is the way I have to do this record for this woman, and I got to figure it out. And it is such a wonderful experience. I highly recommend it, and I hope it takes off this time. We tried to do quad in the old days, which was for evenly spaced speakers, and then we did surround, which has its good qualities, and then we had even more intense 7.1 and all of this. But the Atmos, we are always listening immersively anyway. Naturally, we hear the reflections of the sound coming back at us from behind us, even though we only have 2 ears that face forward. Our whole body listens to everything. We don't just listen with our ears. And so we're, it's our fight or flight mechanisms. And, we hear everything in all directions anyway. So it only makes sense that it is mixed correctly immersively. So the main signal is coming at us, but if we're in a room and it's bouncing off behind us, we're getting that experience. Or if you're in a live concert situation, we're surrounded by sound at all times, and in anything we're doing. So it feels really natural, and it feels like a natural progression and expansion to me when it's done correctly. There were a couple that weren't done right, specifically Billie Eilish, that song that I'm Happier Than Ever. That mix, her vocal was up here instead of here, and I felt I was being sung down to, and it was very distracting. It for me. I like gizmos and widgets as much as anybody if they're effective and don't pull me out of the moment. And that's, you don't want to pull somebody out of the moment. And if something's going across this way or coming around or anything like that, Rocket Man, oh my gosh, they did the Elton John Rocket Man, beautiful job on that. And that just another one that gave me goosebumps. And these are remixes, so they weren't even recorded with that in mind, and they worked really well. So I have hope for those formats only because it feels natural. And now, as long as it can, the listening audience can experience it correctly. So that's the challenge, I think.
Yeah, I see Eliza put something up there, local studios. I know Brian Lucy, I think, who's been coming to the
A lot of people are doing it and jumping on the bandwagon, and Universal Music is remixing all of their catalog and all of this. And I'm just going, because I've been around long enough to remember formats that everybody, when home theaters and 5.1 came around and people had their, their two speakers here and their two speakers here and their subwoofer, and they came up with DVD audios to piggyback on those systems that people were buying for their homes, and and just saying this is another way of using your system. Well, not everybody set up their speakers correctly, and not everybody knew how to mix like that, and it took a while. So those surround mixes weren't always very good, including if you weren't right in that sweet spot. I remember hearing Gaucho, but something from the Gaucho record. I forget which one it was with Steely Dan. And I was way too close to the forward right speaker. And I was just hearing one thing out of there. And that, that wasn't working for me. And the worst demonstration I heard was a mix by, I think it was Boys to Men or Backstreet Boys or something. And they put a voice of theirs equal in each one of those speakers. And you felt like you were surrounded and, somebody was going to go in for the kill. It just was so uncomfortable and so wrong, because again, our ears face forward, and that's where the main signal should be coming. And even a Fleetwood Mac, I was sitting in the control room when Ken was mixing one of their songs, and I can't remember which one it was, but suddenly Lindsey Buckingham's guitar is coming out back here, and I turn around that fight or flight thing, and it was like so wrong that for that to be there. And it's not just because we're used to a stereo mix, it was that he wouldn't be back there anyway, unless I'm sitting right in the middle of the stage. And that's, I'm not going to be doing that. But the best ones were in churches and with orchestral music or string quartet or something. Robert Margouleff was the most wonderful one I heard. And it just used the room. So the main came this way, but you felt how it would feel with it reflecting off the back of the church and these high ceilings. And he got it right. But, again, the playback situation has to be able to reproduce that for you to have that experience. And they're saying that a lot of headphones can simulate it, and binaural listening, meaning, you're focused here and focused here, two ears instead of one center stereo image. You can, some stuff's pointing here and some stuff pointing here, and you turn your head and it'll direct it that way, and turn your head, it'll direct it that way. I know that's very scientific, my description. But there are headphones that can do that. And actually, when I did that sound bath, sound healing, sunset to sunrise, it worked in my headphones. And so it's psychoacoustics, but that's where the mixing dimension is so important. We used to just mix left and right. Now we mix all the way around, but with frequencies, you mix up and down, and with echoes and ambiances, you mix front to depth. You want it more present, it's drier. And if you want it further away, you place it with ambiances and reverbs, and that's what adds the dimension. And so that's kind of what Dolby Atmos is. Now, Kenji, can you add anything to that, or am I sounding like I don't know what I'm talking about, or what do you think?
I'm with you, but the just my concern is the lifespan of the format right now, the Atmos, and if you set up your studio for Atmos, you gotta invest pretty much, you're expecting to put the, I don't know, at least 20-30 grand to set up the Atmos studio.
Well, but then who is your audience? Who is the
and in terms of the playback aspects or the listeners aspects, I'm not expecting the the regular listeners to listen actual Atmos speaker environment, but at the same time, I see pretty good potential to have the audience who are interested in listening on the headphone.
Mm-hmm.
And the binaural playback sounds pretty good.
Yeah.
It's a new experience if you mix right.
Well, actually, it's not that new. When I was working on Breakfast in America, when I was working on Breakfast in America, we had a binaural head. They have these heads with microphones in the ears.
Dummy head, you're talking about dummy head, technology. But to me, Atmos binaural is a little bit different way of playback. It's not like recreating, the actual dummy heads binaural playback. It's we can use that headphone environment or space as a creative tool.
Well, also, if you're gaming now, if for gamers and in your car, those are two perfect environments because you're kind of sitting still unless you're doing VR or AR and you're wandering around in that experience. But basically, I think the car has always been a perfect environment for surround listening, because you can't really go anywhere. You're
right.
You're in your seat, so you're in that sweet spot, and then gaming is huge. And so if you get your music placed in a game, and then it's got this Atmos or immersive mix to it to go along with the game, it's going to sound pretty good.
Yeah,
and that's appropriate. There's a strong listening audience in that, so we'll just see what happens. But I think
setting this technology up for the metaverse, so to speak, is that where they see a big application for it?
You know what? I don't know that much about metaverse, and I see it, and I haven't really jumped into it. I'll have to ask my kids.
I mean, essentially, it's VR. I mean, virtual.
Yeah.
It's a.
Well, I mean, I've seen examples of it. The guy skiing down with all the flowers all over him and everything, and it just looks like somebody's on acid, which is, that's cool. But yeah, as long as they don't have a bad trip,
Oh, that's funny.
Well, that's what it looks like to me. Ask me how I know.
On the escalator, right? Yeah.
How do you know?
You know what? I never dropped acid, but I knew a bunch of people who did. And that's what they said it was like. Yeah, see, I missed out. Maybe I'll microdose someday. Sounds like fun. But yeah, that's, either people are going to go more into the metaverse and get more away from real life, or it drives them out to go hiking more and camping and enjoying nature more. I don't,
I hope so.
I hope so too. There's so much technology and virtual living. You know, it's a shame when people go to an experience or to a concert and they look through their phone the whole time instead of, you know, or look through their camera, you know. They go on these vacations and they film everything. And I said, well, do you remember what you did? No, I was filming the whole time.
A reality check. Stephen, are you actually on the beach right now?
No.
Okay.
No, that's just it's 9 blocks from where I live. Yeah, it's close to where I live. Yeah.
Right, I got it. Close enough.
But Eliza is really at Stonehenge. Well, is there any other questions or anything? I'm enjoying spending time with all of you.
Yep.
Is it possible you could leave an email address?
Sorry?
Is it possible you could leave us your email address?
It's on my website. Lenise.
It's on the website. Okay.
Well, and it's kind of easy. It's Lenise at lenisebent.com.
Oh, okay.
So
Lenise, this has been fantastic. Sorry, Stephen. But what really impresses me is, and is very inspirational, is your complete a sense that you are really following the path that you are meant to take. And it's very specific. And not everyone does that. It's kind of the ideal. And I'm just wondering in your life if, kind of like to, look back at like Robert Frost, The Road Not Taken. Are there any thoughts of other paths you might have taken or things like that or not? Just curious.
Well, I started out in the Screen Children's Guild when I was 8 years old. I grew up in Compton, and that was something, child labor was possible when you have the film industry and TV industry here. So I'm the youngest of 6 kids, and my dad was an educator. So, they didn't make a lot of money. And so my brother, who's a year older than I am, and I were both put in the Screen Children's Guild so we could, make enough money to buy our instruments for orchestra and buy our own bicycles and, stuff like that. And so we had a very early start, and I loved the filmmaking aspect of it. The acting part, it was fun, but it wasn't nearly as fun as being behind the camera to me and learning all of that sort of stuff. And so, and my brother as well. So we both went into studying film and television production, but my boyfriend was a singer in a band, and that Roger Lynn was the guitar player, and he was 18. And Roger Lynn, for all of you, as we mentioned at one point, he invented the first drum sampling machine called the Lynn drum that changed recording of drums forever, along with Roger Nichols of Steely Dan. Their engineer came up with Wendell, which was also a drum sampling, different sort of device. But anyway, Roger got this. Have you all heard of Leon Russell?
Of course.
Yes. Okay. Incredible songwriter, member of the Wrecking Crew and all of that. Well, I was an enormous fan. And when Roger said, "Hey, Lenise, I got this job engineering for Leon Russell. You should come over and see the studio." And I just went, who cares about a studio? I want to meet Leon Russell. I was 19, and, he'd come out with the Shelter People, and there was this PBS special with all, and I was just totally enamored with him, big fan. And so I said, sure. So I went over there right after school that day. I was in film school, and I walked up to the door. This was in Encino. He had bought Lou Costello's house, Abbott and Costello, and it used to be Lou Costello's house where he died, but it was a big mid-century place, pointy foyer with this, kind of not a disco ball, but big round, mid-century light and all that in there. Anyway, I ring the doorbell, and Leon actually answered his own door, and I just about flipped. And he said, "Oh, you must be Roger's friend. Come on in." And once I got into the foyer, though, to my right, I heard all of these amazing voices coming out. And it was 21 tracks of background vocals because he had a 40-track Stevens tape machine. Only 3 were ever made. And he had one of them. And I just heard these background voices, which was his wife, Mary McCrary, singing for a song called Hideaway off of a record called Will o' the Wisp. So that's what they were recording at the time. And if you want to hear the angels singing to me and where I had my epiphany, listen to that song. I turned and I walked in and I saw the console and I saw the tape machine and I saw the outboard gear and the monitors and I heard the voices and I just knew. I said, that's it. That's what all of my background and everything had suddenly just went, just lined up. And I said, Roger, show me how to work this thing. And the next day I dropped out of university and found a recording school and signed up, and then went home and told my parents what I'd done. And I was sure I was going to get, crucified, but I didn't care. And fortunately, my dad was totally behind me on it. And so I went to recording school, and me and 50 guys for the first night, and they started talking about all these things like amplitude and velocity and sine waves and complex waveforms and Doppler effect and compression but they're talking, it's a lecture and there was nothing demonstrating any of these things, and I panicked and I said, oh no, I've really messed up. I used a stronger word, and because I don't know what they're talking about, and I've dropped out of school and I've really messed myself up. So I'm all panicking. I call Roger and I'm crying after classes about 11 o'clock at night. And he goes, come over. And so the next day, because I wasn't in university anymore, I went over to Leon's house, and Lynn gently said, okay, this is a compressor and this is what sounds like when you compress it, and this is how it works, and this is what limiting does, and this is this and this is this. So for the next 9 months, I went to school Monday and Wednesday nights, and then Tuesdays and Thursdays, if I needed to practice what I'd learned in class, I go to Leon's house and ring the doorbell. Hey, Leon, where's Roger? I got to become part of that community, and that was quite wonderful. And I learned not just at school, but in a real life studio environment, and mixed my boyfriend's music, the band that Roger was in, and, I practiced. And so, but I had burnout at one point. I got very sick after the Blondie record, actually. I'd done 9 records in a very short amount of time with Mike Chapman, who is, prominent rock, a pop producer, but crazy. He's the first one to say it. Brilliant, but crazy. I learned so much, very cool production techniques from him, but it was a very unhealthy environment, and my body finally gave out, and I ended up having stomach cancer, so I had to quit. And so I took a hiatus for a while, and when I came back, I went into post-production audio, and it was great. I could make a good living, but it didn't have the passion. There were no tears or goosebumps making sound effects, even though it was a lot of fun at times. But I finally eventually got this job at a party that I went to be a foreign, somebody from Disney was there and said, what are you doing here? And I said, well, I used to be in the music business. And she goes, can you read a score? And I said, yes, because I'd been in Compton Youth Symphony Orchestra when I was 8, 9, and 10 years old. And so she said, can you be in Tel Aviv in 3 weeks? And I went, sure. Why? And she said, well, she's now with DreamWorks, and they needed a foreign dubbing music supervisor to work with the star talent, with the directors there for, this was for a movie called The Road to El Dorado. That was like that Elton John had written all the songs for, and they went to 70 different, they needed 70 different languages. So they didn't have anybody to do Hebrew, which I didn't know anything about. I'd never been to the Middle East or didn't know anything about Hebrew, but it didn't matter because I knew music. I could read the score. And then I ended up doing Shrek and Shrek 2 and Spirit, the Stallion of the Cimarron, that Bryan Adams wrote all the music for. Incredible score. And because kids can't read subtitles, so you have to dub them in these languages. And so to sell the movies in foreign territories, they had star talent. So, and so whoever it was in these different countries. So that was like an amazing job. And it made me miss, I was producing vocals for these movies. And it was like, that's it. I have to make records again. That's all there is to it. So got me back to it. And I stopped doing that about 10 years ago. And, you know, the money budgets fell away from that too. So, but I was back making records, and it's like, this is what I have to do. And I've never been happier. So it's really, so your song resonates with me completely. You know, you have to do that thing that you have to do, and all of you have to follow your bliss and follow and do what makes you happy, because we only got this long. You know, I don't know who else in here is a cancer survivor. I've had it twice, and it really does, you know, it really puts things in perspective. There you go. Yeah, it's just like, woohoo, I'm here. And this could all end like, you know, what time is it? So you got to make it matter, and making it matter, making this time on this earth. We don't know for sure what's going to happen when we transition, you know, when we turn into dust, and our energy shifts. But right now we've got this is where we are, and this is who we are, and this is what we're doing. And this is all we've got, is this moment right now. And so making it matter with all of you means a lot to me. And I hope that inspired you to make it matter too.
Thank
It has.
you.
Thank you so much.
It inspires me.
Good. That's it.
Yeah.
Definitely. Yes.
Thank you.
Keep going.
Yeah, and have joy, and we have choices, you know. We so just always remember that. That's a comfort when we're feeling grumpy or crappy or whatever. Just remember we do have choices. And so kind of find something to think positive thoughts, or go write a song about it. Don't get even, write a song. Yeah, it can be the gift that keeps on giving. You know,
The best revenge is success, right?
Yeah, that's my advice.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Thank you so much, Lenise. You rock. It's been a great night.
Rock.
Thank you. Well, you can tell I'm having a great time. Thank you so much, all of you. It was just a real pleasure to be here, and I wish you tons and tons of success. Keep writing those songs. And, you know, it's an acquired skill, and it takes work, and it's okay. You know, and what you're doing, I commend all of you for having the courage to put your music up here and in front of everybody, and letting somebody like me, you know, give you, you know, direction on where to go and all of that. And, you know, good on all of you.
Thank you.
Thank you for your feedback.
Thank you. Thank you very much.
Yeah.
You're
I'll see you for
welcome.
lunch.
Thank you, Jimmy.
Yeah, see you at lunch. Yes.
And have a most wonderful evening.
Yeah.
Thank you. So far, so good. Are you kidding me? This has been great.
Steve, who's our next guest? We have your friend, right?
Oh, yes. Yes. And his name is one of those I have to look up and pronounce. But let's just say he's a person who writes scores And he also wrote a song that was played recently at a Super Bowl.
Nice.
So
Cha-ching, cha-ching, cha-ching.
that will be quite an interesting and very different session. So we'll look forward to June the 1st when he's on, and we'll put it on our website and on Facebook and everything.
And then we have Joanne Ledesma coming back July 6th. So that's a placement possibility for a lot of you guys. That's always good. And in between there, again, we do have our showcases. So the next showcase is in 2 weeks on the 18th, right? Yes.
Right.
On the 18th in person at the farm. You're always welcome to, Lenise, if you want.
Thank you very much.
Yes.
Is that out in Altadena?
Yes,
or-
the place in Altadena where
Yeah,
we
where we went the first time.
Right.
Okay.
Yeah, so we'll be there, and we
That
like
was
to do that
fun.
in person, and we are archiving that now to YouTube so that we can all check our stuff. I think that's kind of important too. We tried
Yes.
having people from out of town, going through the Zoom link, and it just didn't work out. But at least we can archive to YouTube, and that's a big thing. So we're excited
It
about
is.
that.
Excellent. Very
And
good.
then, yeah, and then also for those of you who aren't doing it, you really got to check out some of these open mics online because. I'm meeting people from all over the world on these things, and it's just astounding. We have a regular from India and a couple from Australia at the one that we're at every Tuesday. It's called the Hambones Open Mic. Nancy's been there a couple times, so
Yeah,
it's
great.
been really good. Yeah. So please check that out. If you need the link, hit me up, let me know. You can send it over to Steve, and he'll relay it to me. And that's pretty much it. So. Thank you very much for coming, everybody.
Thank you.
Thank you.
For having
Thank
me,
you,
everyone.
Lenise.
All right.
You're welcome. My
Okay,
pleasure.
Thank you. Thank you, Jimmy and Stephen.
Thank you.
Thank you,
All right.